in furniture manufacturing, high-end furniture, which doesn't sound exciting, but it could be fun. I spent 18 years doing that and started as a data entry clerk and ended up as the senior production manager in charge of the entire line. So I had some good times with it, but it's a crazy industry. Anything in the design world is a little bit nuts. And I was just over it by then. And the company I was with for 18, okay, so I was there 19 years, and the company I was with for 18 of those years was kind of top level. So it was hard to find other competition to go to try something new. I did end up actually finally at the end going to a competitor in September of 2019, which means I was the new kid on the block from furloughs in March 2020. So after 18 years at one company, I was less than 6 months at the others. So the 5-day challenge was absolutely what I needed to get started. I had heard about Salesforce on a Facebook group about personal finance for women, and I had been looking for something that I could transition to. I did not want to go back to my old industry, but I also did not want to go back and I don't mind being entry level. In fact, when I'm learning something new, I like being entry level. I like seeing things done rather than coming in and acting like I'm in charge and trying to figure it out that way. But I didn't want to go back to an entry level salary. That wasn't going to work. I mean, in Los Angeles, I need a decent salary, right? So I didn't mind going down some. I absolutely expected to go down a lot, but I was trying to find something that would be a sum instead of a lot. And when I started reading about Salesforce careers, I was like, this might be the answer. But I didn't actually really know what it was. I mean, I did a little futzing around and looking and found some information, but I didn't really know much of what it was. And I'd never used it, Salesforce. And the person who mentioned it also mentioned the talent stacker they just mentioned the 5-day challenge. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus all my attention on this book. And then as soon as it's over, I'll do this 5-day challenge and figure out, is this something that I can proceed with? So signed up, got the first email. I think it sort of says you can go play around in there, but I was like, I did what it said, and then I stopped. And then the next day the email came and it said, do this thing. And you probably would have gone through and maybe done a couple modules. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm already behind. I didn't do any modules. So then I started playing around and then I couldn't stop. I just went through and did like a whole bunch. And it didn't take the 5 days to realize, okay, yes, this is software that I could see myself using for a long time and working with. Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, we interviewed somebody, well, they reached out to me and said, saw your profile, would love to get your resume. So I sent the resume. So then the HR person reached out and said, we'd love to meet with you. So he told me in the interview, we recently interviewed someone from the Talent Stacker program and thought she had great things to say about it and how the students work through it. And so we thought we'd interview some more people from that. We saw you have that on your LinkedIn, so we wanted to interview you. So then I went through the interviews. But like I said, from the start, when he did it, I was like, okay, I'm not ready to interview yet. I literally haven't gotten to that module yet. It's on my to-do list. I need to get through this volunteer project. And then there's all these videos to watch. So, but whatever, I'm not going to say no. I'll just do it, and it won't be fantastic, but it'll be a learning experience, and then I'll feel a little better the next time and the next time, right? So we were in the last week of the volunteer project getting that through, and I was like, I've got to do this interview first. And I prepped a little. When I drove up to Dreamforce, I put on some of the, I forget which module it was, but the videos, the interviews with Chris Hopper was what came up next in my queue of videos. So I literally listened to that on the 5-hour drive to San Francisco for Dreamforce. And so I had that, but I kept thinking, I'm getting to the interview ones. But I wanted to go in order because I'm very linear. And I didn't want to skip ahead. So I kept thinking I was getting to the interview, but I didn't. I'm like, that's okay. I'll finish the volunteer project and then I'll get to those interview videos and then I'll be ready. But the first interview with the HR person, I was like, oh, I like what he had to say. And then they wrote and said, we'd like you to meet with the tech guy. So I was like, okay. So I watched one interview video. I forget which one it was. But I watched one of your videos. I'm like, okay, I'm still not ready, but okay. No pressure because they're not going to hire me. This isn't the thing. I didn't even apply. I did not even apply. So no pressure. So then I had that second interview and I was like, oh, I really liked what you had to say. This sounds like a good place. So still doing the volunteer project because they moved fast. It was a week from maybe a week and a half from the first person saying, will you send the resume, to that second interview. And then they had me meet with the CEO and I felt like I flubbed it. I was like, I should have watched more videos. I should have taken the time. The volunteer project would have waited. They wouldn't have minded. I should have watched more and practiced my stories and stuff. I felt so nervous. But a couple days later, I got the offer letter. So yeah, one of these days I feel like I should go back and watch those interview videos just for my own completion's sake and for future reference. Just follow the program. I mean, it's not magical. It's not going to hand anyone a job. I was extremely lucky and I would absolutely not have let anyone have that expectation that they would work through the system as quickly as I did. I mean, it was hard work. I put in hard work, but there was some luck there. But I absolutely believe if you go through the steps, if you put in the work, you will find the position. It will succeed. I really, truly believe that. Can you do it without having it laid out quite so neatly? Of course. But if you already know those things, there are people who know interview skills, who know how to bang out an excellent resume, and they're just trying to decide where to use those skills. I am not one of those people. And that's what sold me on the program, having someone kind of hold my hand of how to do this. But they're not taking your paperwork, they're not taking your experience and writing the resume for you. You still have to translate all the information you can soak in and do the work and put out the resume and do the LinkedIn networking, all of those things. But if you do, I just can't see not succeeding if you put in the hours and you put in the effort. Absolutely traveling. I think for sure that's going to be the biggest change. The production job had to be on site. Possibly it could have been worked around, but that job is on site. That's an office job. I like to say 9 to 5, but it was never 9 to 5. It was always more than that. But you're tied to the office. With this, the fact that I didn't expect that I would absolutely get a remote job from the beginning. I knew that, especially in Los Angeles, there are going to be a lot of in-office positions, but I knew I could work my way there. That in the future, with a year under my belt, if that's what I wanted to do, I could find a remote position. And that's what I wanted to do. I really love the idea of being able to go to Europe and spend 2 weeks and still do work and be able to put in the time, but travel. I've traveled a lot, but it's always, a limited vacation time. So just to have that flexibility, and the money's going to help. I did have to go down a little bit to go entry level into Salesforce from where I was, but I did not have to go down nearly what I had been afraid of when I thought about transitioning. And I know that within a year or 18 months, I'll be at or above where I was. I'm back on track. And that is huge. So it's that freedom to be able to expand those possibilities of where I'm working from. And I might now with this, I might decide to sell my house in Los Angeles and move somewhere low cost of living but with that same salary, that could completely change my future.